respond. I said a second.
Meeting to order. Roll call.
Peter Kemp,
Here.
Logan Zuber,
Here.
Dave Schlemmer,
Here.
Chris Lamb.
Here.
We have a quorum. Did you have an opportunity to review the previous minutes?
Yep.
Any changes or modifications?
Nope.
Take a motion to approve.
Move to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Any changes to our agenda tonight? Okay. If you have phones or pagers, please shut them off. We have no old business. New business. We'll open the public hearing for BZA standard variance 2025-009. Begin with the staff report.
Thank you. Jim Ketterett, City Planner for Auburn. This application was filed by Sean Miller, who's requesting a development standard variance to the lot to exceed the maximum allowable lot coverage allowed for his property, which is zoned R2. The property is located at 5528 Bear Creek Pass. The variance requires a public hearing, was advertised in the Star on August 6th, and there were 4 adjacent property owners sent notice on July 30th. The location map, the other property highlighted, it is in the Bear Creek subdivision of Bear Creek Pass. The area directly to the west behind the home is actually a common area tract as part of the subdivision. The proposed improvements for the property show, again, the home, to the west is the north part of the screen. So the pool would go to the west of the home in the rear yard, and then there'd be a patio area around the home. Existing yard area would remain on the north side of the rear yard, and of course the front yard is unchanged. I mentioned the property is zoned R2, which is medium density residential. A couple of photographs of the property. The first one is standing at the north property line looking south at the backyard area. And then the next photograph is from the south looking to the north. So the pool would go within that grassed area. This is looking to the rear of the property, the fence along the rear property line, and then the common area for the subdivision west of the fence. And just one other photograph, just more of an aerial, just giving you the image of the property. It's an entirely fenced in rear yard area. Staff did not receive any public input from the notices or the legal notice. So the applicant, they're requesting to install the pool. It's 28 foot by 14 foot. It's in ground. There'll be a concrete deck around the pool. And with the pool, the deck, the lot coverage for the property, which includes the home, the driveway, any hard surface of the property is part of an impervious surface. And the code allows a maximum of 40% of the lot to be covered. With the pool and the deck, he would be up to 57% of the lot. And that's what triggered the variance request. The existing lot coverage, it looks like it's calculated out about 43% right now. I don't know if there was a sidewalk added or something, but that's the current coverage of the property. There's also an existing 20-foot easement along the west property line, the rear of this property. It is a utility and drainage easement. And the deck of the pool would encroach into that area, but the property owner has sought an encroachment agreement with our Board of Works. So if the pool is allowed to go in, he is allowed to encroach the easement with that agreement he has with the city. The Bear Creek Community Association did review the request since it's in the homeowners association there, and they did approve the improvements. Property owner did submit findings for your consideration. So with staff recommendation, the additional lot coverage is within the rear yard area of the property. Being fenced in, it's probably not going to be so noticeable that he's increased over the 40%. Nothing changes in the front yard. Still quite a bit of yard area in the front. So the increased impervious surface is not going to be visible to most properties and property owners in the area. So We do feel that this is a reasonable request, and we do recommend that the board accept the staff proposed findings that we submitted to you and approve the variance as requested.
Any questions, comments? Nope. Is the fence already in the utility easement?
The fence is within the utility easement, yes. Yeah.
Saw the picture.
Yeah.
Question came to mind. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Would the applicant please come forward, introduce yourself, spell your last name, and add any other information you feel pertinent?
Sean Miller, Miller. Sean's the messed up one. It's Sean. I spell it the right way. As far as anything to really add, I know that there was some concerns with drainage running off of that much impermeable surface. As you guys can see in the drawing, we are planning on putting along the fence line, that gray area. So every part that goes, that's already not my house, will have a 1'6" rock bed to kind of absorb some of that water prior to it going on to somebody else's property. So, I mean, the drainage issue, all my gutters are buried. So all of the natural runoff from the roof, anything else goes clear out back to the drainage ditch that has been there in that common area for years.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would just speak for or against the project? If so, please come forward. Okay, we'll now close the public hearing for this project. Board discussion.
Looks good.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Right there.
Right. Mr. Bosworth, maybe we have the findings of fact.
Yes, this is findings of fact for local development standards variance, BZA standards variance 2025-009. One, the approved variance will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will not.
Will not.
We should adopt that finding there.
Yes.
Two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner.
Will
Will
not.
not.
You wish to adopt that staff finding.
Yes.
Yes.
Three, the strict application of terms of ordinance will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
Will.
You wish to adopt the staff finding.
Yes.
Those are findings.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve BZA standard variance 2025-009 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Good luck. We'll now open the public hearing for BZA standard variance 2025-002.
Okay. Thank you. This request filed by Michael Saris. He's representing Vertical Bridge on behalf of the property owner, which is Indiana and Michigan Electric Company. He is requesting a special exception to allow the installation of a telecommunications tower upon property that's located at 402 Center Street. This special exception does require a public hearing, was advertised in the Star on August 6th, and there were 11 adjacent property owners sent notice on July 30th. The location of the property is the substation on Center Street. It's the Indiana Michigan Electric substation. The city substation is further to the north. The property itself is zoned I-1, which is light industrial. Few photographs of the property. This photograph on the top was taken from the north property line of the substation. We're looking south at where the tower site would be. The tower would be basically in the middle of that fenced-in area, the middle of the fenced-in substation property. Next photograph is looking from the east property line west towards Center Street at the tower site. And then this is from the south property line looking north at the where the tower site would be. And then this is from Center Street looking east. The tower would be on the far side of the substation. And there is an aerial photograph just giving you, again, an inclination of what the area is. At the time that we submitted the staff report for your consideration, we had not received any public input. Today, we did receive two statements, objections to the proposed special exception. I haven't included those in the your folders for you to review. One of them was via email. Well, they're both via email. One of them's an actual letter. The other one is just the content of the email. We also, as far as notification, put out our standard public notice sign. We do those typically for planning commission actions, but if there is a special exception request, which is a use request, we do place them out. So we put that out along Center Street back on July 31st. Again, with the zoning of the property, the I-1 zoning, a telecommunication tower is listed as a special exception use. The special exception use, the best way to describe it is, it's a use that has been deemed appropriate for that zoning district with conditions, and typically that special exception will have conditions attached to it, as this one does. And then there is the provision for a special exception where, yes, it's a permitted use within the district, but it is site specific. So in theory, it might be appropriate for one location of I-1 property, but maybe not another location. So the real determination you're making is this location appropriate for that use? Generally, yes, but is this exact location appropriate? So that's really what the special exception is. You don't see those a lot, not very common that those get requested. So the tower itself, it is monopole design. That is required to be a monopole design. The height of the tower will be between 180 and 185 foot. One of those standards or conditions for a telecommunication tower is it has to be under 200 feet. The tower, I believe, is being utilized by Verizon. One of the first things I do when we have this kind of request is contact the airport authority. They, of course, always want to know of any location for a tower. They did not express any concern on the location or the height of the tower. The tower is going to be placed upon a leased area. So it's a 60-foot by 60-foot area. Again, about in the middle of that fenced area towards the rear of the property. So it'll be behind the substation property. It then would be accessed by the existing driveway that gets vehicles back to the substation property. The tower will be enclosed with a chain link fence and a gate, matching similar to what the substation gating is. Other conditions of a telecommunication tower is setbacks. Has to meet specific setbacks from the property lines, and that setback is based on the height of the tower. So there's a front yard setback, which would be from center, the rear yard setback, which is the east property line, the two side setbacks, the north and south property lines. And there's also a setback from the boundary of any residential zoning district. The tower exceeds all of those setback requirements. So with that, the conditions, provisions of a telecommunication tower have been met for this property. The property itself, again, being next to the substation, there are, of course, high transmission power lines. There's towers for those lines. There's towers supporting different feeder lines, et cetera, going to and from the substation. The one tower, the tallest tower, is just to the north of where this proposed telecommunication tower will be. It actually has a height of 165 feet. So the tower, so this is probably standing about close to where the new tower would be, but that is the tallest pole on the property is 165 foot. Some of the other poles would drop down in height from that. 125 foot is pretty standard height of the transmission towers and the poles that are out there. One of the requirements for a telecommunication tower is the perimeter of the tower itself, the fenced in area of the tower. is required to have evergreen screening around it. So they are asking to waive that requirement. Again, when they're looking at the viability of having that around just their tower site when we have the whole substations, both I&Ms and Auburn Electrics doesn't have any screening for the substation. So they didn't feel it was appropriate or necessary to have the screening just around the perimeter of the fencing of the tower. So they are asking that to be waived. So as we looked at this particular request, we look at, of course, the zoning of the property. It's a special exception use. So we know that it's appropriate in I-1. We start looking at the specific site. And when I looked at the site, I look at it as we have substations there. We have 2 substations. We have all the overhead transmission lines and towers and poles around the property, some of them almost as tall as what they're asking to do. I felt it was an appropriate location. The setbacks are exceeded. So if something should happen to the pole, in this instance, the pole falls down, it won't fall on anybody else's property because of the setback is going to land on the I&M property. So I think the distance from the homes does make a difference for this location. The closest home that I measured was the one on Old Brick Road. So the home just to the south, a little bit to the southeast at 702 Old Brick Road. Tower will be 300 foot from that residence. Couple of other things that I look at as the other towers that are in the city, and they're, where they're at, what their heights are. If you recall, the one on Touring Drive came to this board not too long ago, probably 24. That particular tower is 295 foot tall. And that particular tower is only 275 foot from the closest dwelling units. So that's actually a much closer, not much, but it's a closer scenario than what we're looking at here. The other tower, we have another tower up on 36A by the Early Learning Center. That tower is about the same height, 185 foot. So if you can imagine that tower, this one is the same height. There's no homes located close to that particular tower. So, we're as staff, we're analyzing that. We're analyzing the location, what's already there. So we do believe it's an appropriate use for the property. Again, being within the industrial zoned area where the substation is at, complies with all the setbacks from adjacent properties. We don't feel it's necessary to do this screening. Again, looking at, the existing substations don't have any screening. It doesn't seem to be a necessary component of the project for this cell tower. So staff does recommend the board accept. We have submitted proposed findings for your consideration and waive the screening requirement. And approve the BZA request, subject to one condition. They just secure their FAA approval for the tower site, which I know they are in the process of doing. So with that, again, the 2 objection letters should be in your folders there for you to view, and we'll close staff comments.
Did you read Mr. Fisham's objection letter?
I did.
How are we to judge the scientific principles he stated in that letter versus, there's already a whole bunch of electric going through there and high tension lines, and does it hold credence?
That's not really something that I can respond to as the health concerns of a proposed facility. This versus health concerns of a electrical substation and the overhead transmission lines. I think we all know the stories. We've all heard and read about, concerns, but those are there, existing. So I don't know if this is compounding that or it's just not something that
Well, there's already a lot of it going on in that area already. So they had to pick a place. Comments, questions?
Some of our other towers, how close are they to residential areas?
The tower on Touring Drive is closer to a residential area.
But
The Jerry Junction apartment community is there. The other tower that I mentioned on 36A that's not close to a residential home. Of course, our water towers have telecommunication, facilities on top of them, and those are those are much closer to residential areas, but it's not a specific tower. Their equipment is placed on top of our water tower.
Would
Those
this
are the
be-
only examples in town that I know of.
Would this be, do you think, the closest one to residential?
No, the one on
No,
Torrey. is
the one on
that's
Torrey.
closer houses. That's up behind Walmart.
Oh,
Yeah, south of Walmart is that one's closer to residential.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Would the applicant please come forward, introduce yourself, spell your last name, and add any other pertinent information you deem necessary. Oh, name and address, excuse me.
Yes. Hi, I'm Michael Saris on behalf of Vertical Bridge and Verizon Wireless. My last name is spelled Sarris. My address is 11208 Lake Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44102.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Anything else?
Wanted to thank you for that great summary of our proposal. It makes my job a little easier. Verizon and Vertical Bridge are trying to address a network deficiency in the area and bring better service to Auburn, Indiana. I don't think it's any secret to anyone that the use of wireless communication devices has just exploded in the last few years, last 10 years. I could throw some data out to you. In 2017, an average smartphone used about 7 gigabytes per data per month. At the end of 2025, they're projecting about 53 gigabytes per data per phone. So that's almost 650% increase in just about 8 years. 63% of households are wireless, which you'd think, or exclusively wireless, which you'd think would be more. So the reliance, on the wireless network for E911 and those types of services is greater. And also there'll be about 35 billion wireless devices by the end of 2025. So that's some data there.
so for this tower, like, I'm not sure your familiarity with other towers and stuff, but like, I know where I grew up at, there was an older cell tower that got put up. I don't know its use anymore.
Mhm.
Is there a point in time when this tower would be obsolete in the near future?
Obsolete meaning
A new form of new types of tower, like these 5G towers are newer versus the older towers that they don't put up anymore. So
well, the technology. I mean, 5G is thrown out. I mean, the tower technology is still pretty much the same. Monopole, self-support, guide tower. It's just the types of antennas and radio heads that are put up on the tower. I don't have a crystal ball. There's in the lease, all our lease agreements, there's a decommissioning part of that as far as like if the tower is no longer being used, the tower will be taken down. But Verizon isn't going anywhere. Vertical Bridge will probably plan to get another carrier, AT&T, T-Mobile, on that tower once that tower's there, because like I said, the demand is just off the charts. So there's always that need.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against the project? If so, please come forward. Your name, address.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jim Fincham. I live at 271 North McClellan Street in Auburn. I'm here today to respectfully urge you to deny the special exemption request for constructing a 185-foot tower at 402 Center Street. I know I previously submitted a letter about the health concerns for this tower, but this exemption should be denied because it would violate both the intent and the standards of Auburn's current zoning code, which exists to preserve the safety, character, and overall development of our community. First, let's talk about the intent. The zoning ordinance was put in place to guide the growth of our city in a way that respects existing neighborhoods. The area surrounding 402 Center Street is not industrial. It's primarily residential with small pockets of small-scale commercial. A 185-foot structure, which would be over 17 stories tall, dramatically exceeds the scale and the character of this area. It would dominate the skyline impact sightlines, and reduce property values for the nearby homeowners. This is not what this zoning district was meant to accommodate. Secondly, for standards, the applicant should show that the tower would not negatively impact the public's health, safety, and welfare, and I don't believe it can. A structure of this height poses potential risk, fall zones, and lightning hazards, which could cause serious issues being built right next to a power station. I'm going to go off script here and look more at the fall zones versus where it's located to the power stations. A definition of a fall zone would be, fall zones are areas surrounding a cell tower where debris such as ice or parts of the tower could potentially fall. These zones are crucial for safety, especially in residential areas. For a monopole type, which this is for cell towers, the typical fall zone radius should be 1.5 times the height of the tower. If you think about the location of the substation, basically directly below that, and the potential of power outages based on falling debris, I think this is an inappropriate place for this tower to go. The zoning code actually is not a suggestion, it's the law. And while code allows for special uses in limited cases, this should not become a loophole to allow incompatible and disruptive developments. Granting this exception would not only undermine the zoning code, it would also set a dangerous precedent for future requests. How are you deny a future one trying to do the same thing in a basically residential area? The applicant should bear the burden of proving that this is compatible with the surrounding area and uses. In my view, though, they have not met this burden. I would respectfully then ask you to uphold the intent of the zoning ordinance and protect the integrity of our community. Please vote no on the special use exemption. And I want to thank you for your time and your service to the city. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak to this project? Please state your name and address. Spell your last name.
Kevin Webb, 113 Matthew Cove, Webb with 2 B's, W-E-B-B. I'm on the board at the Auburn Lions Church, was at 805 Old Brick Road, and familiar with the issues of towers and wires and things like that that's in that area. I'm looking at the possibility if it was located at the edge of town towards the south, if you still had the same range and it wouldn't affect the substation or residential people if it was located. I don't know what the range on the tower is, if you'd still have good coverage if you're right on the edge of town going to the south. There's industrial property out there. It would be a better location, and you would be and now you're going to be imposing this tower on the residents that are already there. And I don't think the residents and the people realize how tall that tower is going to be until it gets installed. Then you'll go like, oh my, what'd they do here? The electric lines on our church property are there, and the new towers, because it was an existing line and it had to be upgraded. So, kind of fought with them, but still had to have that done. So they come in from the south towards the substation, and they shoot off to Butler too. So, but on the other side of Old Brick Road, it's mostly residential and the substation. And I just think there's too much going on there to locate that tower in that spot. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak?
If you would permit, I'd like to add one more thing about fall zones. Jim Fincham again. Fall zones are the reason why the windmills are not in DeKalb County right now. The ice coming off of it, that's why the windmills, so it's a real thing, and that's why the windmills didn't go through it in the county. So I just wanted to add that to the discussion.
Thank you. Ma'am, please state your name, address, spell your last name.
I'm Lori Shaneyfelt. My last name's Shanyfelt. And I do live at the property on 702 Old Brick Road. I want to thank Mr. Webb and Mr. Fincham. I don't have any information prepared as I just learned of this morning. So I wasn't one, unfortunately, of the 11 that were notified. And it does sound like my home is the closest one. And I received no notification. So I was really blindsided by this. My husband and I bought this property in 2011. It was an eyesore. The home was about ready to be torn down. My husband and I thought it was a unique property. It had 2.25 acres. And honestly, it was beyond anybody's wildest dreams what a mess this place was. It took us 1.5 years even before we could even move in it, and it still wasn't done. My husband did probably 95% of this work on our own, and we have worked and worked and worked. And actually, we were chosen to be in the garden walk twice because of the improvements that we've made. I was the president of the garden club for a few years, and we're really proud of what we've done. Unfortunately, a few years after we lived there, we learned of a easement variance that was there in the 50s. So AEP comes along and takes 9 of our trees and puts up these horrific looking poles pretty much in my front yard. And there really wasn't anything we could do about it. Although I don't like it, I love my home and we do take pride in it. And we receive compliments constantly on what we have done with this place. It's unfortunate the substation has doubled since we've been there and these poles are there. We've tried to plant some trees after they took my 9 trees out, but I can't plant enough trees to cover up this pole. When I do my dishes and look out at my yard, I'm going to see this ugly monstrosity, and there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. My husband and I have worked very hard. My husband has heart problems. We can't start over and do this again. And if you've seen this property in the picture I submitted, you can see what I'm talking about, what we've done. And I just don't think it's fair that they can just come along. I feel with the poles, our property has probably been devalued, but with this thing going up, nobody's going to want this place. It doesn't matter how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have put in it, and we have. Nobody's going to want it. And I don't think it's fair. And I'm sure that there's a lot of health risk involved. I just haven't had the time. Like I said, I just was notified about this through another neighbor this morning. But I urge you to vote no. Said we've worked really hard on this place to fix this neighborhood up, and this house was a horrible, and we've worked so hard. And I just don't want to see it devalued anymore. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak to the project? Please state your name, give your address, and spell your last name.
Hi, my name is David Parker. I live at 121 Cord Place. It's my mom's property, actually, but we want to object to it too. And pretty much what they've said, they've hit almost all the bases. There's only one other spot on it that I found that I hadn't heard anybody say. I got here late to the meeting though as well, so. But I guess I'm just here for the community and again, touching base with everything what they had said about the health, the fall risk, all that stuff, the property value. That's a big thing for everyone. I went around and talked to my neighbors. I went around a few of the blocks trying to speak with people where their property were touching the same where this tower's going in, or one is proposed to go in at, and none of them, not one person had heard about this. Not one person had any idea that this was going on. Whether they got the letter and didn't see it, I have no clue, but I know there's a lot of people that was not interested in having it put up. I got a petition started. I got some names and stuff on this I want to leave here with you guys. And the only other thing that I didn't hear about again was the other proposals for the sites. Like if they had looked into using existing like towers, water towers, or other places that they have where they can use that equipment to put the antennas on. That was just the only, like I said, the only thing I hadn't heard that was talked about. But other than that, I guess that's all I have.
Thank you. Just as a point of edification, when letters are sent out notifying people as to the adjacent properties, we don't send letters to everybody within a mile or anything, being practical. So is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the project? Close the public hearing.
Did we want to potentially bring the petitioner up to respond to any of the potential comments made?
Would you care to respond to anything? Jim, do you know where the 165-foot tower or pole is compared to the 185-foot?
It's just to the northeast of the INM substation. So it's
East, okay. And the
just to the
pole's
north and
southeast.
yeah, kind of the corner of that fenced-in area of the substation is where it's.
I think it's that post
Oh, yeah.
there
Yeah, that's a big one.
comparison.
5G has a shorter range, right? You have to have more towers.
Yeah, the higher frequencies are not as into the distance as the lower frequencies. Yeah, I did want to say we did submit a fall zone letter with the application, and monopoles and towers are designed to fall upon themselves. They buckle in the middle, so that was submitted with the application. You should have a copy of that.
Yeah, we did.
And Vertical Bridge and Verizon Wireless take great efforts to ensure that we comply with the federal standards put forth by the FCC, FAA, EPA, and FDA, as well as the state standards in Indiana.
Okay. Well, anything else? Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. I will now close the public hearing. Board discussion.
So the issue that I took a bunch of notes here as people were talking. The issue that I keep hearing is that this one is a lot closer to residential. It's surrounded by residential. I mean, we've got the park there and they have a substation. And I understand that the substation is an eyesore, but also that substation, she had said, doubled in size in the last 10 or so years. And like, they couldn't really fight that. I imagine those easements were already there.
Utility.
Just talking about the church too, and they couldn't really fight that. But to what Jim was saying, I mean, you're going to set the precedent of putting up a tower kind of anywhere that's zoned industrial, and especially this close to residential, because if we've done it this close to residential, we could do it, again and again. And I mean, they didn't have any say on the pre-existing electric lines. And the property value thing, I mean, I would definitely imagine there's something, there. I mean, the power line she was talking about, and whether or not you believe in the health risks about it, a lot of people do. And I have a house over there that I'm remodeling, and I know it will affect it somehow. It may mean sitting on the market longer. It may mean a slightly less price drop. I don't know. But I know there are people who strongly believe in the health effects of it. What else? That I had here is that, so what the tallest one there is 165 foot. So this would be about 20 foot taller. So
Right.
it's a lot larger in general. And I think people are getting this, while the substation is there and that's the use of it, and while it might not look like an eyesore because of the use there, I mean, you're now talking about an aerial use a lot larger. And when you're coming up from Center, County Road 29 there, you're coming uphill. So you're going to see that thing from further away than I think we think. And I think when that thing gets put up.
Is that objectionable?
What's
to see
that?
a tower?
What's that?
Is that objectionable to see a tower?
Objection.
Objectionable.
Like, don't enjoy
Like
it.
you drive up Center Street and you see a tower up there. Is that objectionable?
What I'm saying is that it will change the skyline of that area, is my point.
By 20 foot.
Well, if you're putting up a big tower there.
Right, but there's already 160.
Right. I mean, if I'm driving up the hill, I don't know what a 185 foot looks like. My point is, you're driving up a hill, so you will see it further than I think that that we might think. You're going to see it all over. It sounds like a bad precedent to set. It's a lot closer to homes. I mean, I guess I haven't counted the houses around there, but I gotta imagine there's. Yeah, you got substation. You got McIntyre Drive, Cord Place, all around was it Ewo Street, Old Brick Road, 15th Street, South Division, South Baxter, South Center. Those are all people who are going to see that in their area.
Yeah, I looked at Google Earth this morning on that property, and it's a big space. It's a wide open space. There's already the electrical plant there. It just seems like if you have to put it somewhere, it makes sense that you put it with all that other electronic stuff.
In my opinion, I guess it sounds like a bad precedent. Just because it already sucks, let's make it suck more.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, it's gotten worse over the years, and are we going to make it worse again? You know?
Yeah, because it's already doubled in size. And I'm not sure when Kevin had said when they came in and increased the utility poles, because that easement was already there. They couldn't fight that. You're never going to stop that. But we're talking about something new to add on to what's already doubled in size. It just sounds like making something that's already gotten worse and making it, let's just add on to it even more.
The spacing of the towers. I mean, can it be outside the city limits someplace and still do the job?
That's probably not for us to decide, though.
Well,
I don't know the answer to that, but I know you need a lot of towers for 5G, and 6G is going to have a higher frequency, so you'll need more towers, more closely spaced. If this isn't an appropriate piece of property, what is? The closest house is over 300 feet away.
That's not that far, though.
Pardon?
That's not that far.
that's my question. Can you have all the towers outside of, say, nowhere close to houses and do the job?
Where is that? In Auburn.
Well, it says like the special, basically our job, a special exemption shall be approved only upon a determination. There's 4 or 5 different light items here, but it's their findings of facts, essentially. The special exemption is in harmony with all adjacent land uses. I wouldn't really call that in harmony with the residential that surrounds it. And then the special exemption will not alter the character of the district. I mean, you're putting up a 180-foot pole, 85-foot pole straight up in the air around that. And yes, you can make the argument that it's already gotten the 160, but you're just adding more fluff to it. I don't think it fits.
So the primary consideration, public endangerment, the health causes are inconclusive. Compatibility, industrial zoning, but compatibility with the surrounding area. Yes, the surrounding neighborhoods are residential, but this is going into where substations currently are, since compatibility with substations for infrastructure is there as far as compatibility goes. Minimal impact to neighbors, 20 feet vertical rise over what's existing there is to a degree negligible, but still impactful to the neighbors because of the use of telecommunications. I've done some reading recently on electrical health impacts from an electrical substation comparative to that of cell towers. Findings on electrical stations comparative to cell towers. Electrical stations as they stand pose minimal to no, is generally accepted as minimal to no health impacts as they're currently described. The cell towers potentially do, so impact on neighbors, yes, tied to health, but as far as enjoyment of property, diminishing value, I think that diminished value because of the nature of the application does bear a little bit of weight because of the cell tower usage and the potential impacts of that. Not necessarily on health, but because of application. So that's the one consideration that I'm considering that is in the negative against that, and it's just weighing that consideration against the relative applicability of use in that type of environment. That seems pretty applicable in my opinion. It's pretty compatible. I'm not educated enough on the health impacts because from what I can tell, it is a gray area.
Even scientists can't agree.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than a scientist one way or the other, but I am leveraged to err on the side of caution when it comes to health and safety more than anything. If it's a 50-50 shot, I'll give the 51% safety versus not safety. But impact to neighbors or impact to the neighborhood and diminishing of value, I think if I give credence to compatibility as a yes, impact to neighbors as a no, that will impact the neighbor, then the 51% weighs closer to that of health and safety. So I think it meets some, but it doesn't meet others as far as we evaluate the criteria. And that's sort of where I'm struggling is I'm at a yes and yes and no, and then a
Well, I haven't
unknown.
decided. I was playing devil's advocate.
No, that's kind of where I'm leaning and trying to understand what information has been presented by the petitioners as well as what's been presented by the community as well, and kind of weighing those as well as what I've done in the research recently as well in this type of application.
For me too, if you're reading the findings of facts, it doesn't make the cuff for it compared to what we've heard from the neighbors and Kevin and Jim, and in harmony with all adjacent land uses, altering the character of the district, property value, interest to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Yeah, I'd say we have 4 votes here that say property value would be diminished.
That's typically not a criteria for us, though. It can be an emotional criteria, but I don't.
It is finding number 5 in this case. Though.
Pardon?
It is finding number 5 about the impact on property values. You only have to find that one of these 4
One doesn't reach.
doesn't breach.
And that's why I didn't want to talk so much on the health risk of the property values, because while I've been doing this for 5 years full time, I'm not an expert, but I mean, just if I'm looking at the proposed special exemption is not in harmony with all adjacent land uses, that's the first one for me. All adjacent land uses. Residential is the main adjacent land use, and it doesn't match with that.
You agree? Mr. Lane?
No. I think the land use is comprehensive with that. It is industrial in what it is.
Plus the adjacent land use. That's what the phrase is. In harmony with all adjacent land uses on number 3.
Well, there.
No, it's is consistent with the purpose of the zoning district of the Auburn Comprehensive Plan. Is the first finding of fact.
I'm looking at number 3 on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on number 1. I apologize. There's no, but consideration has been given regardless of, or not in regard, but with consideration to adjacent land uses. We've put up PUDs and we've put up others that are not necessarily in line with the adjacent, but is reasonable within transition area. So I still. In harmony, so harmony is it's not going to drastically impact the land uses in comparative to what is currently there. What is currently there is a 165-foot pole. Is a 185-foot pole no longer in harmony with that?
And what's the city code? What do we have? So is it like 200 feet or something?
That's
I don't know.
max.
Could we add another pole there? If you had 2 towers there? I mean, I'm just saying if we're setting a precedent for it, is that considered, because now you have the substation that's already 165. We have another one that's 185. Could you add another one that's 185 and consider it still okay because we've added it So we've set the precedent.
It's a special exemption though.
I know,
It's
but that's
based
what-
upon
It is a
every
special exemption.
circumstance where a special exemption is requested.
I think 2 would be more applicable as a negative, or would be injurious to public health, safety, morals, general welfare of the community because it's unsubstantiated information that I can't validate in one direction or the other.
None of us can.
We haven't had any experts come testify.
Yeah, we're not.
Right.
There isn't that evidence from you.
I guess I'm telling you too, as a homeowner, I'm worried about the house I'm going to sell.
Okay, well, we've discussed it. We'll proceed with findings of fact
Can you
and
clarify that last piece, we don't have a house in this area, correct? I mean, it's just affected by this tower.
Oh no, it's 1,000 feet away. It's very
We
close.
might have a conflict. We might not.
Oh, that wasn't the property value is not my thing. But if you want me to not answer on that one, I'm fine doing that too.
No, I mean, it's your consideration, what you feel you have.
capital A, UBURN, 1, 2, 3.
I mean, if you were in- you were notified of this project. you were-
No. But I do have a question on this finding of fact. If I don't agree with all of them, but I agree with one of them, do you still?
If you disagree with
If we disagree with one,
one, it's.
it's done.
Okay, well,
you know,
that's all I'll ask.
Okay, Mr. Bosworth, may we have the findings of fact?
Finding of fact for Sarah's vertical bridge special exception, BZA special use 2025-2. Number one, the proposed special exception is or is not consistent with the purpose of the zoning district of the Auburn and the Auburn comprehensive plan.
Is,
Is not Logan Zuber.
Let me read it a second.
okay,
Is not.
So we have 2 and 2. Okay. Number 2, and we'll talk about a finding of fact for that. Yeah. Number 2, the proposed special exception will or will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will,
Will.
will not,
Will not.
So 2 and 2 again. Okay, we'll move on to 3. Proposed special exception is or is not in harmony with all adjacent land uses.
Is not.
is,
Not.
is,
Number 4, the proposed special exception will or will not alter the character of the district.
Will.
will not,
will not,
Will not.
5, the proposed special exception will or will not substantially impact property value in an adverse manner.
Will.
Will.
will not,
will not,
So what we have,
Tally?
and as we've talked before, in order to approve something like this, you have to have 3 votes for. And we have only 2 votes for either side. So that we actually are taking no action on this tonight until we have a 5th member. So we'll have to be put over to the next meeting.
Can we?
Yes.
Can we vote still?
You
Can
can
we make a
vote.
motion?
Yeah, you can make a motion.
So if I don't turn it down, I don't know what verbiage to say. I've never.
well, we need findings of fact before we can vote on it.
right.
Yeah,
We have to agree on findings of fact.
yeah, we do. So let's go back. Number 1. You each will have to, because there's 2 and 2, if we're gonna go through all the kinds of facts, we each have to get for both sides. We know where we're gonna end up, so I'd rather not do that,
Yeah, no, I think that
because we're gonna establish
tabling
2
it for a
to 2
fifth,
and
member,
take-
yeah, tabling it for a 5th member would be
We can
appropriate.
vote to make sure that we have 2 to 2 relative to the whole thing,
Well, we would have to have
right?
3 for each one, and I don't think we're gonna get there on each one.
If you had 3 to deny it on just one of them, that would be, but we don't,
No, we did. The
No, that was a favorable
not to deny it.
finding.
okay.
So we haven't made a decision on this before findings. We need to do a motion to table.
I agree. Come back, go through it next month and give us a chance to really do some research.
Make a motion.
You can make a motion, see if anybody seconds it.
Okay. What do I say for this?
Deny.
I will make a motion to deny BZA special use 2025-002.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, nay?
Aye.
So we have 3 to deny. Is that your vote?
Correct.
Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. And now we do need to go back and make sure we have findings of fact to support your votes. Since I know that now. I thought it was going to be 2-2 because of the vote. Okay.
Is there not going to be continuance?
No. If they're voting to deny it,
Can I speak at all?
it's, the hearing's been closed.
To reread these?
Yes, I think so. Just to make sure that there's a record for the votes. Okay. Okay, so a finding of fact for the proposed special exception consistent with the purpose of the zoning district on the comprehensive plan. Staff, of course, found that it is consistent. It is not consistent is the finding of fact you want to find. What are your reasons there for those who voted is not?
That'd be you guys.
That would be
Well,
Dave and
I'm finding, I was going to say, I found that it is consistent, but I'm not.
Right.
you did.
Yeah.
So we're restating the negatives
Yeah. So they're stating the negative.
and the rationale behind it.
You believe that the zoning district wouldn't want to put that tower in that area so close to residential properties? Is that what I heard before?
Yeah.
We're taking this down over here. Okay. Do you want to adopt that finding then?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
No.
no?
No.
Okay. Number 2, the special exception will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
I said will.
The city said
I said will.
will
I said will not.
not, and Dave said will not.
Well, no.
Okay.
So my assertion for the will on that one is the science is unclear enough, and therefore there is no defined criteria that will prove that it will not be injurious to the public that I can identify at this point in time.
Okay.
So it isn't clear that it will not be injurious.
And you're, as you said, you're falling on the side of safety,
Falling on the side of caution.
believing that it will not, it will be injurious.
Yes.
More than you.
There's more than likely
More than
a
you
case.
accept
Correct.
in your discretion.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, the proposed special exception is or not in harmony with all adjacent land uses.
It is not, because my biggest thing was it's surrounded by residential.
Residential too close.
Is,
I was in his.
And Dave was in his.
Is not.
Residential is because of residential.
Right.
Being too close. That'd be the finding of fact.
So we have to agree now, either 4 or 5. Is that
You did agree on 4, I believe. Proposed special exception will or will not alter the character of the district.
will?
will not.
Will not.
Yeah, will not, or light industrial.
So you want to adapt the staff finding there? 3 out of 4 of you.
Correct.
Yes.
And 5, the proposed special exception will or will not substantially impact property value in adverse manner.
Will.
Will not.
Will not.
Okay. Then the will not say that property values will be impacted in substantially adverse manner. Because
I heard the neighbors talk, and I mean, they've already had the substation double, and adding more stuff to it, I just can't imagine it. Does not help.
you believe it's an overbuild for the area.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the use of it. That's why we're here for the special exemption.
Okay. And your motion to deny was approved.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Carrying this over to another meeting.
So it's denied.
It's denied.
Anything else for it? Sorry, that was our longest one, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't get caught up.
After the meeting, then they have one more thing to do.
I just,
I'm the attorney.
You're gonna get a copy of the transcript.
It'll be,
You need the appeal process.
you can check with Mr. Carey and his office. Right? Okay. It'll be a long one.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing for BZA standard variance 2025-010 staff report. Oh, let me open it up.
Thank you. Excuse me. Wayne and Nathan McIntyre, they filed a request to erect a 6-foot privacy fence within what is the front yard setback area along 10th Street, frontage of the property, which is located at 402 South Cedar Street. So it's the southeast corner of Cedar Street at 10th. This variance required a public notice to be posted in the newspaper. That was published in the Star on August 6th, and there were 5 adjacent property owners sent notice on July 30th. The applicant submitted scroll one down. This is the drawing of the fence they would like to install. The part that is encroaching is where it juts out towards the sidewalk along 10th Street. The remainder of the sidewalk or fence does comply with the UDO requirements as they've shown it. The property is zoned downtown commercial, as is all the surrounding property around it. A couple of photographs of the property. These were taken. They've done some clearing on the property. They actually secured a permit to start installation of that portion of the fence that is not in the setback area. So what they have done so far, if you happen to look at it here with the last couple of days, is compliant with their permit. But the fence goes along where that tree row used to be. This is from 10th Street looking south. And then this was looking west along 10th Street. So the fence is able to go as close to the sidewalk or 10th Street as the existing building. And this is just an aerial of the property they intend to fence in. We did not receive any comment from from neighbors or the public notices. When you have a corner lot, you in essence have 2 front yards. So the front yard of the property is along Cedar Street, but it's also parallel to 10th Street. The applicant intends, as they have already started, putting up a 6-foot tall privacy fence. And I mentioned those fence permits been issued. The downtown commercial zoning district, what's unique about it is that there is a 0-foot building setback. So if they wanted to expand that existing building or put a new building, it could be up to the property line, which in essence is probably a foot off the sidewalk. However, if the building is pushed back from the property line, there can be no fence installed in that front yard setback area. I struggle with that. I struggle with the fact he can put a building on the property line of 2 stories, 3 stories, but you can't put a fence there. It just seems a little bit interesting. I assume it was written that way. You have some homes in the downtown area, and you have some commercial buildings that are set back a little bit off of the property line. They just, the ordinance itself, they did not want to support having fences within the front yard setback area. So again, with the staff recommendation, as I struggled with this, I struggle with the fact that they could add on to the building and be up to the property line. So that's really where I'm basing our recommendation off of, is that since a building can go up to the property line, I don't see why a fence cannot, especially in this scenario where it's on the side corner of the property. It's not truly in the front yard of the home. And so it's our opinion that the setback requirement should be the same for the fence as for the building. So we do support the variance application and have submitted proposed findings of fact for your consideration.
Does the front of the house face Cedar Street?
I think there's doors on both sides, if I recall.
I drove by it, but I didn't.
I don't know if I have a picture of the front of the home. I'm sure the applicant can clarify that for us, but I know there's a door on the side of the home towards 10th Street, like a side door.
Surrounded by parking lots. Questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Will the applicant please come forward, state your name, your address, and spell your last name, please?
My name is Nathan McIntarfer, MCENTARFER, 404 South Cedar Street, which is the property directly to the south of the gray house that you guys saw the picture of. To answer your question, the main address to that faces, the front door faces Cedar Street. There is a door that faces north off of 10th Street where the driveway is at. If you can go back to the picture that had, okay, back. Right there beside where the arrow is, there's a small porchway that, or deck that comes off of there that almost goes out to the sidewalk. And that is where the garage is. Our plans are to come off the corner of the house towards the sidewalk and then come all the way down along the sidewalk right at our property line to put a fence in there. If we're not granted this variance, one of the reason that we're asking for it is we're not able to use this property to its fullest potential. We park cars there from the body shop during the year and also during the fair in the backyard. We've done a lot of cleanup in this area between 10th and 11th Street already. We removed all the brush and junk trees down through there. They're all those invasive tree of heaven deals that are harder than heck to get rid of. We took all that out. We rely on the lot at the south end on the other side of the stucco house there where the fairgrounds owns. We park cars there as well, but when the fair is going on, we're unable to use that. So there were some pictures there. You can see there's a truck bed that's sitting in the driveway there on that cart. And then there was also some aerial photos that show, you can see there where cars are parked in the backyard. Actually, where the gravel lot is on the corner of 11th and Cedar Street, we've extended that all the way out, clear down to the brush. The fairgrounds owns it, but our business took care of the expense of putting gravel in there and finishing everything out there that we did. This is just a way, all we're trying to do is just clean this property up and this area up, the best of our capabilities and our abilities. We would lose about 4 parking spots between the corner of the house and the sidewalk that wouldn't be able to be parked. Like I said, we're not going to be able to use this property to its fullest potential. And I think it's kind of silly that we could build a building there and go as high as we wanted to, but we're here over a 6-foot privacy fence. So that's the reason that we're asking that you follow the recommendations in the staff report. The other side to this, I know that these aren't granted off of convenience, but just cleaning this up the way that it has. I don't know if you guys have been by there at all or not, but from the way it looked before versus how it is now, the property owner, which is Andrew Cruz, owns the gravel strip there to the east side of it. The fair sets up their stage there. They're able to get a lot more use of that property for their bleachers towards the back of it by having it cleaned up the way that it was. I bet you we removed at least probably 30 foot of scrub and things like that were down through there. So it's cleaning everything up a lot better, and it's doing nothing but, I don't think, improving the look of the area. I mean, we've had several people stop by and comment on how good it looks now, and it's not even anywhere close to being done compared to what it looked like before. Nobody said that they didn't like it. So all the adjacent property owners are in agreement with it. So we're just asking that you follow what is in the staff report and allow us to put a fence up so we don't have to put a building.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
The property does look good. Worked hard. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this project? If not, I will close the public hearing. Board discussion?
I think residential and a downtown commercial, any additional screening might be beneficial.
Perfect for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. May we have the findings of fact, please?
Yes, sir. Try to make this simple. So Matthew Hartford Development Standards Variance, BZ Standards Variance 2025-10. Number one, the approval of the variance will or not be true to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will not.
Will not.
Wish to adopt staff finding.
Yes.
Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property with the variance will or not be affected substantially adverse manner.
Will
Will
not.
not.
Wish to adopt the staff finding.
Yes.
Yes.
Three, the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use
Will.
of the property.
Will.
Wish to adopt staff finding.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Those are the findings.
Thank you. You're all set. Best of luck.
Better make a motion though.
Oh, yeah, let's make a motion.
Move to approve BZA standard variance 2025-010.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Any other business? Jim? We have a meeting next month? Okay. Report, officers, attorney, members of the audience? All set.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was an interesting one.